What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of The Unbiased Hard Take. February is almost over, so you guys know what that means. Basketball is heating up. College basketball as well as professional basketball. And I have a big NBA episode for you guys today. We're going to talk about tonight's Miami Heat and Houston Rockets game, where the Heat got the 10-point win. But KD and Tyler Herro had some words. We're going to talk about that game. We're going to talk about Jonathan Kuminga's outstanding performance since being traded from the Warriors. Did the Warriors make a mistake? I believe so. So stay tuned for that. As well as we're also going to talk about the Michigan Wolverines losing one of the best six-man in college basketball to an ACL injury and LJ Kaysen. We're going to talk about that injury in college basketball. So stay tuned for more. We got a big episode today. You don't want to miss it. What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of The Unbiased Hard Take. Again, we got a big basketball podcast for you guys tonight. Big show. So before we do get into it, I do want to remind you guys to subscribe on YouTube. Also, check us out on Facebook. Again, the link to that will be in the description down below. I put daily content on there. I always do a Sports Fact of the Day. You guys know it's our big segment. Sports Fact of the Day, a lot of good information there, as well as I'm always putting takes in there. I'm always sharing. Today earlier, I shared something about the NFL Combine. So we have a lot of takes on there. I have a lot of college basketball takes. Did a Michigan State Purdue game recap on our Facebook page. So check that out if you haven't already done so. Daily content on there. Again, link to that is down below. And you can subscribe on YouTube. So I'm really short and sweet to the point because we want to jump right on into it. And NBA's heating up. And tonight's Miami Heat basketball game, I did watch that game, where that game ended about an hour and a half ago as of this recording. But where the Miami Heat did defeat the Houston Rockets in Miami with a score of 115-105. And Miami played a great game. I mean, they outscored the Rockets in the third quarter and the fourth quarter. And anyone following Heat basketball this year has known that the Miami Heat have struggled in the third quarter. But this game was a lot different. And the Heat are a weird team because the Sixers game was a massive loss. Oh, that was a massive loss. Because where the Heat currently stand right now is the Heat are 2 games back of the 76ers for the 6th seed because of that loss. The last game before tonight to the 76ers was, again, massive. I would have rather us won that game and lost today because that hurts a tiebreaker for Miami. So now they're 2 games back and had a chance to cut that and actually take the lead of the 6th seed from that game. And Tyler Herro had a rough night. But the Heat did rebound tonight. And the Heat, on top of that tonight, did help give them a little bit of a cushion on the 8th seed currently. Heat are now 2 games up currently on the 8th seed. And it's a bit frustrating because Bam Adebayo did say recently that he's tired of being in the play-in. I don't have the exact quote. And Dwayne Wade kind of clapped back a little bit and because Bam had said that the Heat are better than the play-in. And then Dwayne Wade said, "Are you?" I mean, Dwayne Wade's the greatest Heat player of all time. Probably third greatest shooting guard of all time. Best defensive shooting guard of all time, and that's not debatable. So he's one of the GOATs. He's a Hall of Famer, 3-time NBA champion, Heat legend, and he sees it. I do too. The Heat have exhausted their potential with this team. They've reached the ceiling. With Jimmy Butler in his prime with the Miami Heat, with Tyler Herro, and with Bam, yes, they can get to the finals. They lost in the finals twice. It was kind of an upset run that they had on those 2 seasons anyway. In 2020 with the COVID bubble finals we made it to, as well as a couple years ago when we lost the finals to the Nuggets. So 2 finals appearances this decade, so life could be worse. We're in the playoffs every year. And the Heat are the first play-in team to actually make the finals. So that's to be noted as well. But the Heat are there's really a meme going on that we're like the play-in kings. The play-in champ. I seen this meme, and it was really funny. It had like a cult. It was like a cult. Like you see like religious cults and things like that. Like it was one of those type of things, and it was like the Hawks, the Bulls, and the Heat. It had the Hornets in there, and it's like, oh, you're invading our sacred play-in. and it really is that, though. Like we can sit and make these jokes and memes all day, and they are funny and they are true. But in reality, it's true. The Heat have just been playing merchants these last couple of years, and it's frustrating because they had a chance to go out and get Kevin Durant. They had a chance to go out and maybe trade for Giannis or John Morant, and they just don't pull the trigger on these moves. They're rumored in all the moves, all the hype's there, but they never pull the trigger. And I mean, yeah, they have really good players. Norman Powell's an all-star this year. Bam's a 2-time gold medalist, 3-time all-star, one of the best big men in the game. Tyler Herro's a former all-star last year as well. So the Heat are great. I mean, don't get me wrong. They have a good team. They have good players, but they're just good. Right now, they have a winning record right now. They're in the 8th seed. They were the playoffs last season, even with all the dysfunction, Jimmy Butler issues. Tyler Herro led them to the playoffs. They still got in the playoffs. They got their ass kicked in 4 games, 4-0 in the first round against Cleveland. But I mean, they're in the playoffs every year. But I'm tired of being 6, 7, and 8 seed. It's getting exhausting. It's exhausting. The Heat needs something different. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And that's what the Heat are doing. I mean, they're going to have to run it with what they have this year, obviously, and let's see if we can maybe make them run at it again. But this offseason, something's got to change. They got to make some sort of move. I think everyone should be on the table for a trade asset. I really do. Because Bam's been great. Tyler Herro's been great. 2 finals appearances with them. Again, playoffs every year. Miami seems to have an all-star on their roster every year. This year it was Norman Powell. So the Heat culture, hard work effort, always competing. Eric Spoelstra talked about that the other night in a quote. So I do think that doesn't matter. But ultimately, that's why you've seen the runs, the Cinderella runs that the Heat had in those 2 final seasons. That's why they happened. But more times than not, yeah, you are going to have those every blue moon. But most of the time, talent wins in the NBA. Culture does matter. But there's a reason that when the Heat had LeBron, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, all those elite players, Shaq in the old days, Alonzo Mourning, D. Wade in the 06 title, Gary Payton. So when the Heat had those players, you combine the culture with the talent. You have dynasties. You have championships. You're raising Larry O'Brien trophies. But when you just have the work ethic, you can get in the playoffs. You might be able to make a run at the finals. But you notice we're not hoisting the Larry O'Brien trophy. We're just not. Because you need the talent and the work ethic. The Heat have the work ethic. They have the culture. We just need a number 1 scoring option. And we don't have that. And Tyler Herro is great. But he's not a number 1 on the team. He's a number 2 on the team, maybe number 3 on a championship contending team. I think he's probably a number 3 on a championship contending team. I think Bam can be a number 2 on a championship contending team. So we just need a superstar, a number 1, a Giannis, someone along those lines, even John Morant. I mean, I don't know. It's just, it's insane. But I don't know if you guys did see this. I think everyone's probably seen this. That KD and Tyler Herro did get into it tonight, and that was awesome to see. You love to see the back and forth. You don't only see that in a lot of today's NBA. It's kind of a lackadaisical sport anymore. So to see 2 guys jawing back and forth, especially in a regular season game, and it wasn't like it was even a rivalry game. It wasn't like it was the Celtics-Lakers or something like that. It wasn't. Or the Bulls-Heat. It wasn't anything like that. It was just the Heat and the Rockets, just 2 teams that don't really have a history together. And KD had said that Herro can't guard. And while that's partially true, Herro clapped back and said, quote, "You a bitch." Quote, that's not me saying, that's him. So I love the competition. They did hug after the game, so whatever. I mean, the respect's there. You obviously know that. But I do love the jawing back and forth. That's good for the NBA. Stuff like that is good for the NBA. You don't want the malice at the palace or anything like that. But a little bit of jawing back and forth in a regular season game is going to help NBA ratings, which have been down these last few years, as we well know. So again, good for the game. Love to see the competition. The Heat did get the win. A little bit of stats from that game. KD was absolutely outstanding. I mean, for the Warriors, led them in points. KD had 32 on 12 for 20 shooting, so he was great. Bam had a double-double with 24 points, 11 rebounds. Khalil Ware had a lot of offensive boards, I counted 3 dunks I've seen. They were outstanding dunks. A double-double for him as well. And Tyler Herro had 18 points as well. So Heat played great. Bam and Tyler Herro were the best 2 players on the floor. You could argue Khalil Ware was. So the Heat have the ingredients to make a run. They just need to change something up. And what I'm also frustrated with is we're almost to playoff time, and Tyler Herro and Norman Powell have barely touched the court together this season. I don't have the exact numbers, but Tyler Herro's been hurt most of this season. He just has. He's been hurt. And then, of course, he comes back. Him and Norman Powell get a couple games together. That's great. And then Norman Powell is now week to week with an injury as well, with a groin injury. So it's like, okay, Tyler comes back, now Norman's hurt. And he's our all-star this year. And that's just, it hurts that we can't get healthy at the right time. You need to get their minutes then together, some continuity going in the regular season, or we're not going to have it in the playoffs, and we're going to get our ass kicked in the first round. Again. That's probably what we're headed towards anyway. The play-in merchant heat. Here we go. The memes are all over there, and we deserve it. Dwayne Wade's criticizing it, and he has every right to. Because Bam, they need to get out of the play-in, and with that loss to the 76ers the other night, it doesn't look like that's going to be the case, unfortunately. But I do want to move on. We all know the Heat are play-in merchants. They'll have the play-in, they'll get in the playoffs, they'll be a 7-8 seed, and it's just frustrating. That's all I'm saying. I want the Heat to get some home court advantage the way things used to be, and the way things should be. Not just sneaking into the playoffs every year. That's not acceptable. That's not Heat culture. That's not the standard. We want championships. We want number 1 seeds, number 2 seeds, even 3 seeds or 4 seeds. That's all I'm saying. That's the expectation. That's what it should be, at least. Not 7-seed merchants, 8-seed merchants. It's not good enough. But like I said, I do want to move on. I've crashed out enough on that tonight. I do want to talk about a little bit of Jonathan Kuminga. Because Jonathan Kuminga, as we know, was recently... Let me grab a drink here, sorry. I love Monster. They don't sponsor any of this crap. We don't have any sponsors, but I probably would never even take a sponsor if we were offered it anyway, because I wouldn't be allowed to say what I want to say. But love me some energy drinks. Definitely need it on this Saturday night. A lot of sports to watch, a lot of content to create. But like I said, Jonathan Kuminga was traded from Golden State, and he is now a member, as we know, of the Atlanta Hawks. And man, these last 2 games, he's looked like an all-star. I mean, we all know he's an NBA champion and was a key part of that Warriors team on their last championship. But I think the Warriors made a deadly mistake because the Warriors are old. Steph Curry's old. They're in the play-in right now as well. They've been in the play-in the last couple of years. And even Steve Kerr's acknowledged that the title contending days are definitely probably over. Draymond Green's getting older. We know Steph is. Steph's still great, but he gets injured a lot more now. He's getting older. How much longer will he play? How much longer can he play at an elite level? We already know he can't stay healthy for a full season, or he's at least an injury risk. Klay Thompson's gone. So the fact that and Klay Thompson's washed up in Dallas anyway, that's kind of sad to watch that, honestly. But, I mean, looking at it, I don't understand why the Warriors didn't build around Jonathan Kuminga. I think Steve Kerr was being too prideful on that because he's 2 games. I know Kuminga's only played 2 games for the Hawks. I understand that. And both games were against the Wizards. So let's consider that. But he's averaged 22 points a game, 8 rebounds a game, 3.5 assists per game, 1.5 steals, and half a block a game. He shot 66% from the field in both of those games against the Wizards. Yeah, we talked about the Warriors. We know they're in the play-in right now, but the Hawks are in play-in contention too. If the season ended today, the Hawks would be able to play and have a chance to get in the playoffs. So they're playing meaningful basketball. They traded Trae Young away. They're sort of rebuilding right now. And it looks like they're going to build around Jonathan Kuminga. And they absolutely should. He has playoff experience. He's an NBA champion. And mind you, he's played in the NBA multiple seasons now. And the man's only 23 years old. So the fact that the Warriors, as old as they are, didn't want to build around a power forward at this level, because I mean his second best points per game in his career was 16.1 in 2023. So he's 6 points better these last 2 games being on the Hawks. Like I said, the Hawks don't really have a lot of talent around them right now. They've traded away their all-star and Trae Young to the Wizards, who hasn't even made his Wizards debut yet, which tanking at its finest, as we all know. But Kuminga's looked great, and I think the Warriors absolutely made a mistake. I don't understand why the Heat didn't go for Jonathan Kuminga. I talked about that in the offseason, how I thought the Heat should have went for Jonathan Kuminga. He's young, he's a champion, he has experience, And he was never even really the fourth option on the team in Golden State. Because as we know, we have we have Steph, we had Clay at the time, we had Draymond, and then we had Kuminga. So he was sort of an afterthought at times in the rotation, and I think him and Steve Kerr, obviously, in that ownership had some sort of, I think there was a lot of heat there that they couldn't get over, just a lot of history and bad blood that just could not be overcome. But, I mean, you got to look. The Warriors and the Hawks are both in really the same boat. They're both play-in teams. I understand the West is a little better than the East. I understand that. But ultimately, at the end of the day, they're both still play-in teams. You can sit and make any excuse you want. The Golden State era of dynasty is over. Steph can't carry you anymore. You need to build around someone young. And they traded him away and got older. And got Jimmy Butler, who also tore his ACL. So he's out as well. So the Warriors are just injured and old. And they traded away their one young core player. So the Warriors are going to be tanking. They're going to be bottom feeder teams in the next 5 years. They're going to be one of those teams, I guarantee it. You watch. Because they didn't prepare for the future. They're more interested in just making Steph Curry happy and comfortable at the end of his career. And it's kind of sad because I want to see Steph compete for championships at the end of his career. Not barely make the play-in. They should have built around Kuminga. And it's obvious. I just gave you the stats right here. But again, I do want to move on. Talked a lot about NBA tonight. And there is a little bit of college basketball we want to talk about. And not in a good way. Because unfortunately, Michigan six-man, and really, in my opinion, the best six-man in college basketball. Definitely the best guard six-man in college basketball. LJ Kaysen suffered a torn right ACL or missed the remainder of the season, the school announced. And the injury did occur when the Wolverines won against Illinois in that big win on Friday night. So last night. And that game, actually, ironically, is the same game that Michigan did clinch the regular season Big Ten championship. We'll have the Big Ten tournament to decide the champion of the Big Ten. But as far as the actual regular season Big Ten, Michigan did clinch that. So congratulations to the Wolverines on that. But it's sort of a bittersweet moment because now he's out for the season and their bench took a massive hit. And really it takes a massive hit at their championship, at their run at March Madness, in my opinion. So a little bit of quotes from that. So quote is, "This isn't how I wanted my season to end, but I trust God's plan, and I'll attack and rehab the same way I approach everything, with focus and determination," Kaysen said. So he does seem to be in a good spirit, and he is correct. God will take care of everything. But for a number 3 Michigan team that is loaded and can make a run at it, he was averaging 8.4 points a game, 2.4 assists, and 18.6 minutes a game. So he had 9 points and 2 assists in just 13 minutes before he's suffering his ACL injury. Again, one of the best backup players in college basketball. So his season's over, and really, I think their chance. If they play Duke right now without him, I don't think maybe they could even win with him, but especially not without him. Depth is really big in college basketball. It's big in the NBA, but it's even bigger in college basketball. You have to have a good bench to compete in March Madness. And Michigan just took a massive hit late in the season because they wrapped their season up and we're hitting March tomorrow. And this injury happened at the absolute worst time. So very unfortunate. Hope his recovery goes well. We'll continue tracking that, Michigan's season, all that good stuff. And really, again, that's all I have for 2 days Unbiased Hard Take. Again, appreciate the support from you guys. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe on YouTube. Like we said, a lot of our shorts hit hundreds to thousands. Multiple of our shorts have thousands of views. So we want to turn those views, obviously, into subscribers. Subscribe. Let the people know. Appreciate the support from you guys over the years. A lot of growth, a lot of good things planned for the Unbiased Hard Take this year. Very excited. Basketball's heating up, March Madness. We can't wait to follow it. We'll be doing our bracket here very soon. A lot of coverage to come. So until next time, that's all I got. Let's go Heat. Go Pat, go. And bowler up, baby. We will see you all next week. And we'll probably look for a short this week as well. So we'll see y'all next time.